Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Byington, and in this video we are going to talk about another Sir Philip Sidney sonnet from Astrophil and Stella. This is Sonnet 108. To walk you through some of the imagery, let's start with the beginning. When sorrow, using mine own fire's might, melts down his lead into my boiling breast, through that dark furnace to my heart oppressed, there shines a joy from thee, my only light. So, as we've seen in some of the other sonnets from Astrophil and Stella, it's kind of this self-consuming circle. So it's not so much that it keeps going back full circle and repeating itself, or that it's even a matter of incursion where it starts and then it goes inside like a spiral. This is like it's self-consuming. That's a symbol I discuss in the part 4 video of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. So when I say that, what I mean here is that this grief, this sorrow about the unrequited love that the speaker has over the lover's absence, or well, not being able to be with her, it's this sorrow that takes his own existence, his fire, so like the fire of love he has for the lover, that sorrow uses that fire it melts down his lead into my boiling breast. So it's weighing him down. So like the expression when we say, oh, that's heavy, or you say, hey, the tone of that feels heavy. It means it's sad, it's melancholy, it's serious. So it's not like if we say light, a light comedy, a light movie, a light story. It's something that's not full of just like tragedy and woe, right? Like everything Sir Philip Sidney's talking about here. So um, in that darkness, though, through that dark furnace, to my heart oppressed, there shines a joy from thee, my only light. So even then, there's all this darkness that melts down into lead into his heart. The thee is the lover, who we assume is Penelope Rich. So a joy shines from her, and she's that light inside of that. But she's not just the light. Look back at the first line again. Like I said, that's the fire that, like when you say someone is a quote unquote old flame, that fire of love that he has for her. But soon as thought of thee breeds my delight, and my young soul flutters to thee, his nest. Now we have something light. So we have some imagery of flight, of wings, if we're talking about fluttering. So like butterflies flutter, right? Most rude despair, my daily unbidden guest, clips straight my wings, straight wraps me in his night, more imagery of wings, and makes me then bow down my head and say, ah, what doth Phoebus's gold that wretch avail, whom iron doors do keep from use of day? So strangely, alas, thy works in me prevail, that in my woes for thee thou art my joy, and in my joys for thee my only annoy. So here in the end, the the thy works in me prevail. So we have thy works, his works are prevailing, the poetry that he's writing, because looking all the way back to Sonnet 1, he said that he must write this to show her how he feels. That in my woes for thee, thou art my joy. So the work prevails. He must express the woe in the poetry. For thee, thou art my joy, because it brings him joy to think about her. But in that joy, it's his only annoy. So again, like it's just this endless cycle, the self-consuming snake kind of symbol. Now, something I want to compare this imagery to, just like I did with Sonnet 39 from Sir Philip Sidney. Remember that Shakespeare is writing and a popular writer in London about a decade after Sir Philip Sidney. And there are a couple of parallels. I'm just going to point to Romeo and Juliet. You might find others might have come to mind for you. But the imagery of lead and that of the wings, so the heavy and the lightness. So in Romeo and Juliet, early in the play, it's a scene where Mercutio is trying to convince Romeo to go to the masquerade ball, right? He's trying to get Romeo to get over his breakup with Rosalind. And Mercutio says, "Nay, gentle Romeo, we must have you dance." Like trying to get him to lighten up. So the heavy and the lightness. Romeo says, "Not I, believe me. You have dancing shoes with nimble soles. I have a soul of lead, so stakes me to the ground that cannot move." So the lead imagery right here in line 2 of Sonnet 108. So this sorrow that Sidney describes. He says, like, his own passion for Penelope Rich melts down that lid into his boiling breast, into his heart. That's where that would be. And so Romeo says, "I have a soul of lead." And so he can't lighten up, he can't flutter above. A Mercutio goes on to say, "You are a lover, borrow Cupid's wings and soar with them above the common bound." So ditch the heaviness, Romeo. Flutter above. The same sort of imagery we have here, but like Sidney goes on to say that this rude despair clips straight his wings and it wraps him in this darkness, in his night. So that's the darkness. So you have, and then Romeo goes on to say, "I am too sore and pierced with his shaft by an arrow," because that's what Cupid does, right? He shoots arrows, and if you're hit by one, you fall in love desperately with the first person you see. "To soar with his light feathers, and so bound I cannot bound a pitch above dull woe." So again, with the feathers, the wings, the binaries of heavy and lightness. So that is all I want to point out for you in Sonnet 108. Thank you for watching.